we here have suffered for a long period of time. We have tried enough, but we have died enough. Why have we died? It is because of this dangerous pandemic called HIV/AIDS. Now, we are tired of dying, but what is the solution for us to prevent this so-called virus called HIV/AIDS? This virus is spreading a lot because we are stigmatizing those who have the virus. We are not knowing that stigma is the main thing that is the main catalyst that catalyzes the spread of this virus known as HIV/AIDS. But we want to fight against stigma. But how can we fight against stigma? We can fight against stigma unless we reduce the spread of HIV/AIDS. So it is possible for us to reduce the spread of HIV/AIDS by abstaining from sex, being faithful to our partners, and using condoms for us who are adults. And not only that, this virus, so-called HIV/AIDS, is killing a lot of people, all because their mothers, HIV-positive mothers who are pregnant, are not caring to go for the antenatal care in the hospitals, of which they are making their children have the virus, and yet the children did not contribute to getting the virus. So I encourage mothers to go and seek for medication, to go and deliver in the hospitals, not at home, and to seek for antenatal care. Youth, remember that we are the ones who bring the future. We are the future generation. So how can we eliminate this virus known as HIV/AIDS? We can stop this virus when we stay at school and abstain from sex. And I also urge parents who refuse to educate their children, parents who do not want to advise their children to prevent the spread of HIV/AIDS, please, you are digging a grave for your child. I, as a passionate Ugandan, passionate about ending HIV/AIDS, I would urge us, all of us, to rise and fight this virus. As I conclude, once we fight against HIV/AIDS, we will not regret. So please rise up and let's come and fight against this virus. Remember, it has killed a lot of people. And it will still do if you don't do what I have told you to do. Remember that we will fight this virus, and once it is ended, we will never regret. Trust me, we will never regret. We will live with joy, happiness, free from fear, free from discrimination, and with peace. Never forget that HIV/AIDS spreads due to ignorance. Before I start,
all right, so say what this approach is going to be doing is that after you finish with your first meeting, you raise up his hand like this. If you are left with one last meeting, you will again raise his hand like this. Ensure that you look at the judges as look at your audience. Thank you.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي My name is Hussein Bukenya from Medina Islamic Secondary School in Sanj. Starting my speech in 3, 2, 1. People have a mindset about people with HIV, calling them monsters, calling them unaware, discriminating them from society. I want to take you back to a world of women, when women were treated as sex objects, given no time to live in the world, chased out of houses whenever men wanted, rose the feminist movement. Society decided to bring empowerment to women, whereby women are now recognized in the world. We do see many girls seated there, studying, accessing education, just because of society empowering them. And because of these feminist movements have still spoke about the role of women on fighting against HIV, showing women that they are supposed to wear condoms if men don't wear them, showing women that they should abstain from sex unless when they have gone for tests, showing women that what do they need to do in this world, but rather to fight against this disease. Then I ask myself a question: what is social transformation? We do want a world without HIV, but rather we need to empower the youth and show them that we need to live hand in hand with the people who have HIV, building up a mindset in the world and a mindset in the people's minds that HIV is not a disease that is going to just live unless when we work together as society. Sick or not sick, people who are infected are having a role in fighting against HIV. That is social transformation. And with this, how can we fight against HIV? Trust me, if the sick people are included in society, the stigmatization that is being seen can stop. How? The sick people can talk to you and show you the bad things in HIV and how best you can prevent yourselves from getting this disease. If we do include people in society, we can find out that the people without the disease can be able to provide medication to the sick people, removing out that stigma that's developing in the world today. For sure, the only reason why the disease is spreading more is out of ignorance. Because if I'm sick of HIV, I'm going to spread it out of anger to you because you treat me as a monster. Does anyone in this world want to be treated as a monster? No, we all want inclusivity in our society. What is social transformation? Just like feminism, as I told you, women were included in society. It's the same thing we need to do. Work hand in hand, empower the sick, empower the youth, show the youth their role in fighting against HIV, because we see that 91% of this disease in Africa is amongst the youth and young people. What is our role in fighting against HIV? It's the same role that the women had in fighting against stigmatization. When men treated them as monsters, they responded by speaking against this. When we treat people of HIV as monsters, they will respond by showing us this. If we need change in the world, we need to realize that living together is by understanding our role, coordinating with each other, sick, not sick. If I'm sick, I will work with you, show you the benefits of having no HIV and how you would help me. Because if we want change, we would not get it from trees, or get it from outside the oceans, or get it from around the world. But rather the change has to start with me. The change has to start with you. You are the one to treat your neighbor who has HIV well. You're the one to show him how he should take medicine. You're the one to show him that. Because Mahatma Gandhi once says, be the change you wish to see in the world.
I was requesting, before I start my speech, if people could break down the problems they face, like problems faced by HIV, and put them under my book there. Just 1 minute, please. It would really be helpful. Okay. I begin my speech in 3, 2, 1. In life, there are difficult situations we go through. Some of these situations might make us bitter. Others may make us strong, or others others might motivate us. I've been living with HIV for 16 years. When I joined school, I remember there was one day, children decided to bring a topic concerning HIV. And I had one of the students say, people suffering from HIV are stupid. People suffering from HIV should go and die. People suffering from HIV are just disgusting our society. In my head, I thought and said, the mentality these people are having, they don't know that there are innocent lives out there who got HIV without knowing. Innocent lives out there who were born with HIV. There's so many problems people who are suffering from HIV go through. Discrimination, anxiety. Put yourself in a position where you have to attend to school and people have to taunt you. Put yourself in a position where the society doesn't accept you for who you are. This is the mentality our schools, our societies had. I asked myself one day, who is going to be the change? Who is going to bring the change in the society? Who is it going to be? It had to start with me. I remember I set a club in school. My main aim was to transform people's mentality, was to change people's mentality, for them to stop seeing our disabilities, for them to see our abilities. I remember these groups had people who were suffering from HIV and had people who were not suffering from HIV. I told them that we go through anxiety. We also have rights. We also have feelings. We have the capability to be leaders in societies. When people started listening to what I say, there was a huge transformation in society. I became the change I wanted to see in the world. The society started changing because people believed that we go through pain. People saw the problems we go through. I remember I used to write my problems to this paper each and every single day. But when I knew that I was the change to transform people's mentality, to show that we have capabilities to change everything, I tore this paper because I knew I had the capabilities to change it. Like everyone out there who has wrote problems here, be the change to this problem. Tear this paper. Show the world that you can change everything because you are the one to change. Be the change you wish to see. Like the way I changed our society is the way you should change the people. Be the change you wish to see in this world.
At Daniela Citizen Secondary School, Uganda.
Whenever you're ready, you can start.
I am no longer accepting the things I cannot change. I am changing the things I cannot accept. And one of the things that I cannot accept is a society that discriminates. A society that treats people differently based on particular diseases, and in this case, the HIV/AIDS disease. Let me ask you, how would you feel if you were stigmatized based on your dark complexion or your discolored hair? Wouldn't you hate it? Wouldn't you dread it? Wouldn't you feel like the world has come to an end? So let me ask you, why do you treat the people with HIV like outcasts? Is it their problem that they have the virus? Okay, yes, it might be. But is it their fault? No one discriminated you because of what you look like. So what gives you the right to treat people that way? Tell me. Why do you refuse to be in the same environment that they are in, very well knowing how the virus is spread? Why? As a society, we have failed and we cannot continue like this. What are we going to do? We need to empower youth voice for this positive change. And that is why I am here to speak to you. Our elders will be gone by 2030. But you, the youth, you will be in the afternoon of your lives. So if we are to talk about societal change, it has got to be us, the youth, you and I. No one else. Not our parents. Not the people that are older than us. I therefore urge you to support the people that are living with this virus. Let us show them love, care, and support in every way we can. If we do this, it's going to enable people to get treatment from the different health centers and take their medicines with good adherence and even live positively. Let us urge people through the media to participate in the different things that take place. Take an example of the Kabaka's birthday runs, or the White Plus beauty contests that are held by the Uganda network of young people living with HIV/AIDS. All these things are there for you to empower these people that are living with the virus so they can live positively. And it only starts with you and I as the youth. In a nutshell, the more youth begin to recognize that they have the voice, the more change is possible. Youth empowerment is very important to me because the youth are the future. And when we give them the power to change the world, we give them the power to break cycles of the mistakes that our parents made in the past. In a nutshell, I urge you all to be the change you wish to see in the world. Thank you.
From St. Joseph's House, SS Zambia.
You can start whenever you are ready.
My speech will begin in 3, 2, 1. Change is inevitable, and when time changes, everyone else must follow. If not, time will surely change. Ladies and gentlemen gathered here today, as a beacon of unwavering determination, resolute in my mission to obliterate this insidious disease, HIV, by 2030, I am here today to tell you about the biggest hurdle standing in our way to achieving our goal. See, when people say things in society, we tend to perceive things according to how the person said it. If they approach you friendly and say, "You look nice today," you will believe it. But if someone puts on a plastic smile and says, "You look nice," you will think that the person is telling a lie, right? Well, I do not understand why we constantly keep pushing ourselves down and talking ill about people that have HIV, yet it's just one diagnosis. I mean, people are diagnosed every single day with malaria, flu, asthma, pneumonia, and I don't see ourselves disassociating with those people. In fact, I see all of us joining hands. When someone gets an asthma attack, we lift them up and take them to the sick bay or to the nearest medical center to get treatment, and we can't do the same for someone with HIV. We call ourselves the human race, and we say we are the most compassionate and the wisest species on earth, but I'm starting to think otherwise. Despite the progress made in the medical advancements, stigma continues to persist, hindering each and every single step we make towards achieving our goal. You see, every time we take one step forward, stigma pulls our first steps back. We are pulling ourselves back by not recognizing that a single word like, "Oh my God, you slept with Roji and you got AIDS," is killing someone outside there. Stigma is born out of ignorance and fear, but it thrives on misconception and stereotypes, leading to discrimination, isolation, and even violence against people start living with HIV. It is our duty, though, to shine the torch and creep out the shadows of stigma before we are completely consumed in total darkness. To effectively see the change we want to see, we must start by educating ourselves. See, knowledge is power, and I cannot tell you something I do not know, because when I tell you something that I do not know, I have fooled you, me, and the world at large. So educate one another. Let your neighbor on your right, on your left, know that if I have HIV and I share a handshake with you, a hug right now, you're not going to get HIV. In fact, you would have empowered me. A good morning message to someone who you know is suffering from HIV could do much more change than you believe it can do. But see, education alone is not enough. We must also address the deep-rooted fear and prejudice that exists within our communities. Now, this requires honest conversations about HIV and an open, free space where these people can open up to us. Ending stigma on HIV is not an easy task. It requires commitment, perseverance, and collective effort. But I believe that we can do it. If we can make bombs and missiles to destroy each other, we can destroy a tiny virus. So, in conclusion, I urge every single one of you here today to join me in the fight against stigma. Let us educate ourselves. Let us challenge all the biases and stereotypes that we created. And together we can build a society that is inclusive, understanding, and free of stigma. Brothers and sisters here today, spread the gospel and be the change you want to see in the world.
Jamila Jasmine, King's College.
You can start whenever you are ready.
In 2018, I lost a friend. Her name was Jenny. Jenny had a ticking time bomb in her blood caressing her white blood cells. Jenny had a grenade in her heart, the same grenade that 1.4 million Ugandans walk around with no idea of when it can set off. Yes? But what breaks my heart is that I did not know about this until Jenny's death. Yet me and Jenny were like this. We were so close. We planned our lives out together. We planned out our leavers party. We planned out our graduation, our wedding, our prom. Everything, we did it together. But no matter how close we were, she was scared of letting me know about her HIV status. Because of you, Jenny was scared to let me know, even me, her closest friend, that she was infected with a deadly virus. The same deadly virus that is living in 1.4 million Ugandans. That's a large number. It was because of you, the stigma that you have created, the environment that you have created, that people are scared. You've discriminated them, stigmatized them, isolated them. They no longer have the courage to even stand up and talk about how they feel. But you see, I want to ask you, would you want to lose your friend? I believe not. So if that's the case, we need to change. We need to change. And how are we going to do that? By accepting the transformation. We need to fight the stigma, which has not only propelled the epidemic, but hindered progress in its fight. I believe the change is possible, right? And it starts with us, the youth, empowering each other's voices for a change. That if your TikTok page has more followers than mine, then post a video of me talking against AIDS, preaching against that, yes? That if your YouTube page has more subscribers than I, then post a video of us helping those who are suffering with AIDS. We need to help each other. We need to be each other's voices. You understand? Let this not just be a slogan, right? I need it to be action. We need to take action in such a case, yes? For us as the young generation, we possess the power to challenge and we shape the narrative that perpetuate discrimination. We have the tools, the energy and determination to do just that. Change shouldn't just be rhetoric. I will say this again. It should be action. We must educate ourselves and our peers about AIDS. We must break the chains and promote safe practices. The change surrounding stigma. We need to support those living with the virus. And for those living with the virus, it's not a death sentence. Therefore, don't go spreading it to everyone else. Take the ARVs, reduce the viral load, you will surely heal. Yes? Let's not forget for policies that prioritize public health. And I want to assure you that it starts with you. Therefore, walk with me, with you. One family, one region, one nation, one continent, a united world that can combat the virus by 2030, neutralize the grenade. Therefore, I want to tell you, be the change you wish to see in the world.
You are already in charge. St. Mary's College, Jisoo.
And start whenever you are ready.
Okay, so my speech begins in 3, 2, 1. My speech begins in 3, 2, 1. Growing up, I had a lot of confidence issues. Every time I was in class and they asked a question, I always wanted to put up my hand, but I never did. Because I had the thought that someone else would put up their hand, but no one ever did. And this really perturbed me. So I went to my mother and asked her for advice. I asked her for what I could do in such a situation, and she told me one thing. Rodney, stop waiting for a leader. Look in the mirror. It's you. And I took her advice, and when I went back to school, every time they asked a question, I put up my hand. Every time they asked us to do something, I did it. I became the leader I was waiting for. You know, anyone can come up here and talk about how HIV destroyed their communities, about how HIV led to the death of their relatives, their friends, their teachers, and their mentors. Anyone can come up here and talk about how HIV led to their community members committing suicide, how HIV led to their siblings harming their bodies, cutting themselves, burning themselves, so that the pain they felt on the inside could be compared to the pain they felt on the outside. Anyone can come here and tell you how their neighbors with HIV took drugs. They took drugs to get that 1 second of peace, that 1 second of happiness, knowing that whatever effect the drugs had on their bodies could not be compared to the effect that stigma had already had on them. But how many people would listen to them? How many people would take them seriously? How many people would listen to a person who has never had HIV/AIDS? Someone who had never experienced HIV stigma and isolation. Many of us have been fighting HIV and its stigma for years. We have been on the front lines fighting it. But let me ask you something. Why is it still here? Why hasn't it been eradicated yet? That is because no one can listen to someone who has never had HIV tell them how HIV affects people. No one can listen to someone who has never had HIV tell people how HIV stigma affects people. That is like a rich person coming and telling people that poor people don't have it easy. Poor people's lives are hard. Isn't it? Who here would listen to him? Who here would take him seriously if they were in the audience? If we want stigma to go away, if we want isolation to go away, if we want the people to listen to us, then the people with HIV, the people who are being affected, need to stand up and tell the people what it feels like to have HIV. They need to tell the people what it feels like to be stigmatized, what it feels like to be isolated. They need to tell the people this, and I am sure after this, they will listen. Because once the people hear this from someone who has lived this, someone who has experienced this, then there is no way they will refuse to listen to what they are talking about. And when they do, stigma will reduce, because it is one of the key reasons why HIV is still with us. That's why I want to say, you the people with HIV, stop waiting for an uninfected person like me to come and fight for you. Be the leader you want to fight for you. Just like Mahatma Gandhi once said, be the change you wish to see in the world.
Remember, Jenny Prudence is my name, from Budini SS.
You can start whenever you're ready.
And my speech will start in 3, 2, and 1. Like days and nights, times and tides, there happens change in the world every single second. Just like in the night as you sleep, and then it becomes cold, and your blanket is at your feet. You will definitely pull it up to cover your body. But then, if the night suddenly becomes hot, then automatically you kick back the blanket back towards your feet. So as a human, I advise you to adapt to the change that happens in the world, because a smart human is one who adapts to the change that he or she has found. But one who brings about the change he or she wants to see in the world makes a history of societal transformation. Societal transformation is a concept that has been overlooked by most of the societies we live in today. And the very clear evidence of this ignorance is seen in the increasing numbers of HIV stigmatization that we have in our community. And yet, societal transformation is very paramount in our community. But is there anything we can do about this? Yes, there is something we can do about it, because we as the youth, it's not I as the youth, but it's we as the youth have within us the power to create a meaningful change that will fight against the unjust discrimination and the stigmatization that very many people are facing out there in our communities. We as the youth, our actions matter. But when our voices are put together, they surely will be loud enough for everyone to hear. Because 2 is better than 1. It is very crucial for us to understand that empowerment of our voices is very paramount for a positive change in our community. But what does it mean to empower voices? It simply means being responsible for your education and being informed of particularly what do you want. It means fostering a conversation that will challenge the misguided misconceptions about HIV, the stereotypes and the myths that are ongoing in the communities where we live in. But most importantly, it means giving yourself a personal commitment to be the best advocate for us who are affected by HIV, but most importantly, by that person in your community who is infected and affected by this disease at the same time. Because who knows what the person is going through. We really need to be that change. We really need to adapt to that change in order for you to help that one person that you look up to in your community. When we envision a world without stigma, I want you to try and close your eyes for a second and imagine a world without stigma. How would it look like? Like, how do you want your future world to look like without stigma? I want a world where everyone is treated with respect, regardless of their health status. I want to see everyone welcome and accepted in the community where we live in. Because in this world, we as the youth have now become the mouthpiece of the world. We should come together with determination because we have the power deep within us to lead to a societal transformation. And finally, which is why I always stand and tell us to always be and always remember and live by Mahatma Gandhi's words. Be the change you wish to see in the world.
My school is Greenhill Academy, Chibu. Should I spell the names or?
All right, you can start whenever you're ready.
Could I just ask before I start how you'll be timing?
You're going to listen to a bell as after 1 minute, then when 3 minutes, and when time is up, I wish you the best. Should I spell it?
No, thank you. I'm worried. Flowers don't tell, they show. You see, these wise words by Stephanie Skin help us to understand that you can tell the quality of a soil beneath a flowering plant by examining the petals. And just like by examining the petals and the soil, we can also determine the quality of a society based on the health of the individuals living within it. Unfortunately to say, if we're going to consider this flower as Uganda, our soil is polluted. What exactly is wrong with our soil? Well, you see, if we're looking at the health of specific individuals, the highest causing death factor within Ugandans is HIV and AIDS. And when we're talking about people living with HIV and AIDS, the stigma is still prevalent within our society. And thus, you can liken Uganda as a country to this. Imagine you want to put a flower in here and let it survive. No matter what you do, the flower can't survive. It's cut off from air, and there's no water inside. So the problem is, if there is a systemic problem within our society, how do we solve it? There is a theory Wikipedia simply describes as societal transformation. Now this is when you cause a shift in the norms and the habits and the values valued within a society. And the only way how we can do this is by causing a deep and sustainable change. Fortunately for us, the power structure within Uganda lies in the hands of the youth. So by empowering these youth, specifically those living with HIV and AIDS, we will be able to see a systemic transformation. But what exactly do I mean? Well, I mean giving power in organizing, implementing, and also being a part of the say that gets to implement certain plans within society towards people living with HIV and AIDS. Transferring that power from the stakeholders to people actually living with the disease. Imagine getting a suit tailored just for you, giving the flower exactly what it needs. Now, you might be asking, what exactly is this supposed to do for our society? Well, if we actually take a step back and focus on society, the information given to individuals is like opening the still, letting the air out, finally breathing, having information that you need concerning your health. And then that given to the different people within society. It's like pouring water into a tin. Now, given all this, in summary, what exactly would this cause for our world? Well, we'll be able to see that because of the end of stigma, we will have nurtured an environment in which people living with HIV and AIDS are empowered. The needs of the flower are catered to. We will have set off on a trajectory in which, finally, zero stigma, leading to zero infections. And so I want you to understand that you need to be the change that you wish to see in society.
From Sorority Secondary School.
Whenever you're ready, you can start.
denied access to basic opportunities in my village. I was denied to participate in activities in my village just because I have HIV. My society thought that if they would associate with me, I would infect them. What pains me the most is that they would always tell me to my face that I looked sick. The worst and terrible moment that I live never to forget in my life is when they told me that I would die quickly since I had the virus in me. I felt so small. I felt out of place. I felt as if I was the worst thing one would ever wish to see in society. And you know what hurts me the most and keeps me thinking is that even the young people spearheaded this act. And yet today in society, the highest percentage of people who are experiencing stigma are the young people. Have you ever asked yourself that why is stigma not high in the Western countries and high in our country today? It's a high time we empower the youth voices and embrace societal change and validate it, because with this, we are likely to achieve an HIV-free stigma future. And we can empower the young people today through creating awareness campaigns that give them chance to share different experiences and ideas on HIV/AIDS. Because their voices matter in this fight. Their ideas matter in this fight. It's a matter of us to value collective responsibility. Alone we can do so little. Together we can do so much. It's a high time we formed in the anti-stigma clubs on social spaces, communities, and schools, whereby this emphasize on sensitizing community on HIV/AIDS and on how to preach information that speaks against stigma. This can act as platforms that give us courage and confidence to stand out there and share our life stories on HIV and come up with ideas that will help us fight stigma and implement them into action. We can end a vice that brings us pain, that brings us sorrow, that brings us misery, that causes us a terrible situation. And do you know what this vice is? HIV stigma. We can end it still through creating awareness, whereby we have one who is willing to carry out their heart, move out there, raise their voices, carry their posters, their banners, and just that have information and the stigma. This will enable us to fight stigma in our societies. We can do this through sensitization, whereby we talk to community, tell them on how HIV spread, on how it's prevented, and on how to support those who live with stigma in society. We can do this. We can do this also through carrying out education, talking to community, telling them more knowledge on HIV/AIDS, and on how we can prevent stigma in our societies today. We can also do this through abstinence, especially with the young people, if we put it in as an emphasis, through the practice of safer sex, whereby we use the condoms. Today, I want to tell you that you realize with all this, we are able to end stigma in our societies and cause in a change. Today, one may not be cured, but the HIV they hold in them is not spread through a handshake nor a hug. It's a high time we stood in to cause a change and fought for what is right. And you know what something right is? It's saving the lives of people and also promoting in a peaceful living. I would like to tell you that you can cause a change and support everyone in society because we are all equal. Be the change you wish to see in the world.
My name is Ira Rita from Maryhill High School.
Let's start whenever you're ready. Audience.
Imagine a world where every youth is empowered for a positive change. Just like a ripple in a pond, the individual's effort spreads out, creating webs that inspire the rest to do the same. The change starts with you, and it does not end with you. It ripples out and inspires the rest. The best way to predict our future is to actually create it. Once upon a time, in a small anonymous village,
there lived a great monster. The village head had put a gift for whoever is going to get rid of this monster. And that person was supposed to be the heir since he could not bear children. Each and every individual tried as much as they could to get rid of it, but it was all in vain. It was only after, when they combined efforts, that they actually used ropes, used traps, pangas, name it all, I'm all ears, that they killed this. In this world, in this society, stigma is the monster. This is our society, as pure as it is. And stained with stigma, it loses its purity. It loses its goodness. Is this water still pure? Is it still as pure as it looked before? Now this is stigma, manipulating people, hiding them from what exactly they are. They do not get to maximize their full potential. And today, I stand here to advocate for you to come and join me, just like those people in that village did. Join me in this fight, because it is unity that is going to answer this. In this fight, we are not only fighting against the virus, it is a fight for health, a fight for dignity, a fight for each and everyone's rights. And how are we going to do this? We shall empower the youth, because the youth occupy 25% of the global population. The youth are the most affected by this disease. And we are going to empower them. We've seen very many advocations. UNSA has put a platform through debates and speeches for the youth to empower, to be empowered and air out their voices towards the end of HIV. We are going to empower them through social media platforms and technology and innovations. Think it through. Are you preaching out people to have protected sex? Are you using that condom? Of course. You could say yes, but deep down, you know the truth. Let us transform our society for the better of it. Create persistent commitments against HIV stigma. Barack Obama once said that change will only come if we do not wait for someone else or some other time, but stand up, because we are the change we are waiting for. And each one of us, as I conclude, has the power to make a difference, no matter how big or small, by taking action, raising awareness, and supporting the afflicted, affected, and affected. And by the end of this, we shall all enjoy the fruits of our hard work, the fruits of our good deeds, having a healthy community, having a healthy family. Isn't this what we want for ourselves? Be the change you wish to see in the world.
My name is Onyek Churchill from St. Mary's SS Mutungo.
Audience, please, let us give him a chance to speak. Can we do that? If you do so, after here, I will dance for you.
You're all looking so beautiful tonight, like this flower. But if I may ask, how many of us here have young sisters or brothers by the show of hands? How many of us dressed in? Yeah, you people deserve a round of applause because you play a really big role in your families. Listen, I have always wanted to see my brother grow up and be as beautiful as this flower, with a beautiful scent, with a future that is so successful. I have always wanted to see him focus on his education. I have always wanted to see him have a better career in future. But I have been the same person destroying the flower because I could not be the flower I wanted my brother to become. I always wanted to see my brother focused in class, but I was the same person running 7 successful relationships. I had a girlfriend in senior 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2 in senior 5, plus 1 at home. And I loved them equally. But the most interesting thing is, I never wanted to see my brother do these things. I never wanted to see him engage in relationships. You see, I always wanted my brother to abstain from early relationships. I always wanted to see him abstain from early sex. But I was this person that loved Nyash. Trust me, my brother was learning each and everything that I was doing. Do you want to know how I found out? He took 3 of my girlfriends. But listen, this is not what I wanted my brother to be. I wanted him to be a flower. But because I could not be the flower, he could not be the flower. Ladies and gentlemen, how many of us have ever dreamt of a world where people of HIV are not stigmatized? How many of us have dreamt of a world where we share regardless the health status? And how many of us have dreamt of a world where people are faithful to their partners? But how many times have we been the change? How many times have we stood up to preach that HIV is not a curse? How many times have we stood up to say that HIV is real, but it does not kill? You can still live even if you have it. You see, when I stood up and changed my characters, my young brother learned a lesson, and right now he's a top G in class. He scores the highest grades. That is what we need to employ in the fight against HIV. We all need to stand up and be the flower. Instead of destroying the flower, let us stand up and say that HIV is real, it kills. Let us spread that message. Let us welcome people that have HIV. If we want to see the world united, if we want to see the world working together, let us stand up and say, you are all welcome. Be the flower, and people will take your lead. So many of us expect to see change in others, but we are not willing to change ourselves first. See, if you expect to see change in others, you should be the change. You should be the change that you want to see in the world. You should be the flower, because each and every one is seeing you. Your young brothers are seeing you. Our society is seeing you. Stand up and preach love. Churches, mosques, everyone, we need to stand up and preach that people with HIV are not cursed. They are part of our society. They are part of us. I call upon each and everyone to be a flower. Let us be faithful. Let us abstain. Let us do the needful if we have to fight the stigma. Let us do each and everything that we need in our lives to live a successful life, because our future is in our hands. Be the change that you wish to see in the world.